up,
How
buddy?
are you?
Good.
Good to see you.
Hey, good to see you too, man. Rocking the SOS gear.
Yeah, yeah.
Love it, man. Dude, Mike
That's
Perry's content's been pretty awesome, man. I love his actionable, like no nonsense stuff that he puts on there.
why he's my coach, man. That's why I raised
Yeah.
my program. He's simple, knows what he's doing.
Yep. Shoots it straight, and very much like the way Mike is to me. Like the other Mike Conway, obviously.
Yeah,
He tells you kind of like Morpheus. He tells you what you need to hear, not what you want to hear. So
exactly.
very much
Nope.
so, which is good.
Cool.
Awesome, man. You got your beer with you?
Yeah, I have beer and or coffee. Either
Oh,
way.
there you go, dude. You're killing it. I love it, man. That's awesome. So
What do you
good.
got your beer here? What do you got for your
I
beer?
do. So I'm on the Mighty Squirrel train, man. I'm loving the cloud candy. It's so freaking good. So
You're on the
what do you got today?
cloud. I'm gonna go with an Exhibit A, just a kitten.
Oh, I've seen those in the store. I've never gotten one though. What is it, a juice bomb or?
This one is kind of like a lighter. This is like their session New England IPA,
Nice.
like 5%.
That's
So
awesome.
not too bad.
Sweet
Yeah,
deal. Yeah, I think I've had.
cat
I think I
maybe
had.
cat. You know.
That's the one. Yeah, I think we actually had one. I don't know if it wasn't your episode at Tommy's, but it was one of those ones around there. We tried the Cat's Me Out. It was really good.
It's good.
So
They do
it was,
a great one, and then like yeah, they've got good beers.
yeah, no, it was good stuff. Definitely have to try more of them. So all right, man. Well, let's go ahead and crack them open and get started.
Okay.
So
Cheers.
cheers, brother. Here we go. Oh, so good. Well, brother, it's great to have you on, man. I'm super excited. For our viewers that don't know who you are, I know you've been on. This will be your third time appearing on
My
the
third
series,
appearance.
so maybe you're gonna have to become a regular. We might have to make that happen once we hit phase 4. So
Yeah.
when Rito lets you out of the house, so
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
so yeah, but no, I want to thank all of you guys for tuning in for another episode of Beers and Bells. I'm Demarco. We've got Derek Christeler on again, and this is going to be a different kind of episode. I think a lot of people are going to enjoy this. So just want to remind everybody of the 1,000 subscriber challenge. So once our channel reaches 1,000 subs, we're going to select 5 winners. Each of those winners is going to receive 5 free personal training sessions, an hour long each. It's going to be in person or virtual. There's also going to be a 3-month customized program with that, accessible via free smartphone app. And then the last one's going to be a Strength with Purpose shirt, which I am not wearing today. I'm rocking Baby Yoda, repping the Mandalorian. So
Yeah.
definitely
I like
getting into
it.
my, yeah, so good. So definitely getting into my nerdness today. But yeah, man. So Derek, what's up, man?
Too much hanging out Sunday. Just taking it easy.
Absolutely, man. Is today just a full on rest day for you? Did you have any sessions, or I knew
Full
you had
rest.
something to do with Alex?
Yeah. Took Alex to his own training. I train a professional circus performer,
Hmm.
and she does silks and ropes. So basically, taught Alex kind of how to climb a rope, and like showed him how to wrap the rope around his body to go no hands.
Oh, that's cool, man.
Yeah, in the 30 minutes he was smoked. That's
Oh,
the
I
thing about
that's got to be
yeah.
tough. Yeah,
Well, and then with kids, right? They know no stop, right? So they go
exactly.
until they're exhausted. And she's like, "You want to take a rest?" No, I'm good. I'm good. You could
Yep,
hold on to the rope,
they
but
love it. Rocky Four style, man. Just going to the end. So going the distance.
go until you die. Yeah.
Man, I miss those days, man, when you had that endless supply of energy. You
It's
recovered
yeah,
so rapidly.
it's very nice. The gift of youth.
Yeah, seriously. So
Absolutely. So yeah, it's a rest day for me. I might get a training session in. Actually, I might later today, depending on how I
nice.
feel. But
That's awesome.
yeah,
Yeah, rest day for me too. I usually watch football, hang out, get some chores done, and probably swing some clubs later, do some mobility, and
yeah,
definitely chill. So nothing. Nothing crazy today. I've got I ran through the first cycle again with the 40K bell for the Sinister. So I'm testing. So last week was peak week, and then this week is taper. I'm testing this coming Friday. So retest the 40 rematch. So
And you almost hit it, right? But a few weren't to your liking, the chest height, I guess. Or...
yeah. So half of the swings. So I started with my left arm, and so 3 out of 5 rounds with the left arm were to standard. Starting with round 3 on the right arm, everything just went downhill. It was like, so 50 of the swings were good, and then the 60 to 100 were just weren't there. I didn't hyperextend, and I didn't lose technique or anything, which was great. I didn't start shrugging the bell, but yeah, I just couldn't get the bell up to height. My hips and legs just gave out. And Mike noticed also that I was starting to kind of high hinge again. I was going back into some old habits. So I'm trying to implement that, deviate more, and repattern the swing. So
yeah, hey, it's all about the deeper hinge. That's what's going to get you that power.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. The cool thing is I did this second time around with the 40. I did swings with the 40, but actually went to the 44 in the get-ups. So I've been able to get all that volume in. So then I'll go back down and test with the get-up with the 40. So in theory, 40 should feel good.
Oh, that's Demarco.
Hey,
Yeah.
what's up?
Here's our guest right here.
Look at that long hair, man.
COVID hair, don't care.
COVID hair's right. I love it. What's up, man?
Nothing yet. He's upstairs watching some shows. Why don't you go back and watch TV in a bit? Sorry.
Little does he know, he is living the dream right now. He has no idea, does he?
Well, yeah, we all life's tough in every phase.
It sure is.
Form, right?
No, it sure is. Definitely a unique set of challenges.
Yeah, for sure.
He's kind of, you know me. I always got to tie it to a movie. I feel like he's kind of channeling his Bodie from Point Break. He's kind of got that surfer look right now.
He definitely does. Like, yeah, Laird Hamilton, surfer.
Yeah, he's ready, man. He's ready to get out there.
He's ready to get on a wave. Yeah. All right, buddy. Why don't you go on upstairs, and I'll be up in a bit, okay? Mom should be home soon. No.
Hey, talk about really fitting the theme of the episode. That's because today we're talking about parenting, so this is great.
Yeah. This is it right here.
Why are you talking about parenting?
Well, because Demarco is going to be a parent very soon. What's the timeline on that?
Yeah, so due date is January 30th. So it is not far away.
Yes.
It is coming close.
Coming in, so. Yeah. Are you nervous?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, definitely.
I would be nervous when I became a parent.
You will be?
No, I'm not.
Oh, wow. Well, better than me. Well, wait till you get there, and then we'll talk. Hopefully,
no,
a long time from now.
Yeah, seriously. Your mom might have a heart attack if it happens anytime soon.
Yeah, he's good. That'll be good. But yeah, that's exciting, though. It's exciting news.
Yeah, man, super pumped. Yeah, so what I kind of wanted to start off with was just ask you, and again, just to give our viewers some background. I've leaned on you over the years for fitness advice, coaching advice. Like I can't tell you how many times you've helped me with like little tweaks in technique. With the hip stuff we worked on to help me essentially fix my back when it was really screwed up, obviously. And we obviously all got together for Deviate. And it's been really fun. So I'm excited to lean on you again for fatherhood advice. Like what's,
Oh man, yeah, it's a lot. But okay, hold on. I will go get you lunch in just a second. Okay. All right, buddy. Hold on a second, Demarco. I will be right back.
Oh, you're good, man. Take care of it. You're fine.
Come on, dude. Okay, that's the first lesson in parenting. Don't expect to have a plan to like things to go smoothly ever.
I believe that. Yeah, no, I definitely, I can imagine, man.
You just At any point, you're going to have to drop everything and take care of your child. That's it's an important
That's
one.
a, I would say that's a great lesson. That sounds so, expect the unexpected, huh?
There, and I can tell you, there's been times where I've been training and I get a call from his school and they're like, he's sick. He has to go home. And you have to stop your session where it is and you have to just go.
Oh yeah, yeah. I'm sure. I mean, obviously, like with what we do, you build relationships with your clients and students, and they get it. I'm sure.
Understand. They
Yeah,
definitely understand for
yeah,
sure. I mean, if the kid's sick, then that's the way it is. I mean, now it's a little different with COVID, but in general, though, yeah, it happens.
Oh, absolutely,
Um,
yeah. And I mean, and again, what are you gonna do? Say no? I mean, that's you can't you can't exactly say no when
you
they call
can't.
you.
They're like,
You got to go get them.
yeah, you got to go get them. So,
Yeah,
um, and that's the thing, you're always wondering like, are they okay? Is everything all right with them? And so it's you just have to understand that, and then it's also your priorities. Like, do you want to be a parent? Or is career first? However it is, but then you have to talk with your spouse or whoever, like what roles you guys play.
yeah. No, absolutely. That's one thing I'm happy to say that we definitely, we had talked about this years in advance
Right.
actually, which is great. We had like
Yeah.
even before we got engaged, we had talked about kind of what the trajectory was because we both knew we wanted kids. We wanted to do the stereotypical like nuclear family kind of setup, except the gender roles are reversed this time because Lauren's the doctor and my job is obviously, as you know, much more flexible, um,
Yeah.
with scheduling and everything. So luckily we had talked about all of that beforehand. So, but I have, and I'm sure you have those friends too, that they didn't go over any of that. They just kind of flew by the seat of their pants. And then when life really hit them, they're like, oh crap, okay, let's figure this out now.
Yeah. Hey, as with any relationship in life, communication is the most important. And,
Yeah,
knowing where the other party is. Um, so, yeah, I
yeah,
mean, I think, people are like, well, what's the difference between, being engaged, dating, and then being married? I would say there's not much difference outside of like a certificate. But then when you have a child involved, the relationship changes a lot.
oh yeah.
Now,
Responsibility obviously
now you're a
increases a
team,
lot.
Yeah, I mean, you're a team
Hmm.
before, but, before you can decide, I want to get up and go and do this. Now you have to say, all right, can I do this with the child, or can I? So
Yeah, yeah.
it's
Yeah, I can imagine that's a huge change to your schedule and just your whole life, the way you think about planning your day and going about your activities.
absolutely. And I mean, especially like the hours that we keep as trainers, um, you're used to early mornings, but now what you're not used to is disrupted sleep, right? So depending on the child, as an infant, like you might get 2 hours of sleep every,
Yeah.
2 hours and awake, half hour, an hour, another 2 hours of sleep. Um, so I remember it being pretty challenging to acclimate to that, especially with like, if you have any physical goals, like it makes it much harder.
I believe it.
Like,
Yeah. Did you find that you had to really adjust your training during that time? Did you have to like really cut down volume?
oh, absolutely, volume. Like there were no like strength goals. It was just maintaining.
Yeah.
At that time, I think I was still riding my bike every day to work, to and from work.
Hmm.
So I was riding about 100 miles a week,
Oh
uh,
yeah.
on top of all my exercise. But then, uh, in terms of safety and then in terms of physical exertion, I just couldn't handle that, and that's when I had to start driving. Because if I needed to pick him up from daycare, or I didn't want to. I got hit by a car on my bike, like that. It's impossible. That's not a good situation. So,
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. I
um,
think, oh, go ahead, Derek. Go
no,
ahead.
I was gonna say it just puts just a lot of things into perspective. Like,
Yeah.
people are like, you don't know until you have a child. And I was like, yeah, whatever. And then when you have the child, yep, you have no idea how it's gonna feel.
Yeah, no, I believe it, man. And I, not to sound too somber or anything, but and just to kind of open up with you a little bit, that kind of stuff. I think about that, man. I definitely um I have like, it's gonna sound weird out of context, but I wasn't always quote unquote the safest person in the world. I definitely have been known. Well, you know how guys are when we're younger, we take risks and all that kind of stuff. But
Absolutely, I was
at,
right there with you. Yeah,
yeah, as we get closer to my wife giving birth to our daughter and everything, I'm already definitely starting to think more about consequences of things. I find myself, I start the car, I queue up my music or my podcast or whatever, then I just put the phone in the glove box. Now I don't even want to, like, I don't want it to be around me, because I don't even want to look at it now when I'm behind the wheel, because I'm like, man, I can't, I got to get in that mindset now for when there's a little one in the back seat, you know?
yes, yeah,
So,
yeah, absolutely. I mean, it'll be. I mean, it's nice that, well, your wife's a physician, so
mhm.
she'll understand the whole process. But with COVID, I can only imagine. Like, have you been able to go to any ultrasounds?
I
No.
haven't, no. We did FaceTime. We were able to FaceTime for her.
Right.
I think it was for her, like, her first, like, 6 week ultrasound. I think that's when it was, yeah. So we were able to do that. But yeah, no, it's been pretty much both literal and metaphorical lockdown. So
Yeah, and but you will be able to stay when she does deliver, right?
yes,
So,
yes, yeah, I'll be able to be there. It's kind of nice though. Like, most of our family lives down south now, so with the restrictions the way they are, no one really lives that close. So it kind of just makes it easier to just say, hey, now people will obviously come visit after, but it's yeah, I think it was just going to be just the two of us and the medical personnel. So
yeah, man. Well, we'll at least have to figure out like a way to bring you guys a meal or something, because those things are overlooked in the first, few weeks. Like, oh man, I have to shop, I have to, do normal life.
oh, I believe it. Yeah.
I mean, again, your wife being a doctor, she has residency. I mean, they've gone through some more rigors than we could ever imagine in terms of
Oh yeah,
life balance in general. So,
definitely. Oh yeah, Lauren. I mean, Lauren just she worked a regular day, and then right after that went so from home, and then went in and worked an overnight that same day. So she effectively had a 24-hour day, and then she got done at probably 9 or 10, but then she had to be back. So she came back home, and instead of going to sleep, she actually had to hop on for a couple of Zoom sessions. She had a Zoom, I believe, like a group therapy session, then a one-on-one therapy. She did that. Then she had to do patient notes. Then she had to do. So she basically just ended up being up for 48 hours. And that's while being pregnant, and trying to fulfill the other roles, obviously, as a spouse and uh, and
yeah,
everything. I was just watching her going, damn, dude, I could not do that. You are like, she's like Army Ranger level of toughness, and I'm like, I'm like one of those kids in a kindergarten cop. Mr. Kimball, I want to go to the bathroom.
yep. No, it's true. I mean, there is something to be said about a doctor, but also then a mom, right? Moms are, in general, they can do a lot,
Yeah.
right? They can juggle many hats.
Oh, absolutely. And then, all the stuff, all the foods and everything that go on the do not eat, do not drink list. I'm like, damn, I don't know if I could do that for 9 months. That's pretty tough, man.
I mean,
It's
yeah,
very,
like
it's pretty strict.
it is, it is. I hear in other countries it's not as strict, but here in the States they're like, you can't have cold cuts, you can't,
Yep.
all the things.
Yeah, and it makes sense. I mean, I definitely, when I was I mean, you and I were close to age anyway, so it was probably very similar. Like, when my mom was like pregnant with me, the rules just weren't as strict. Like, it was common for mothers to like smoke and still drink and
Oh,
stuff during pregnant, and God knows what was happening even generations prior. I mean,
right.
hell, World War II troops were getting rationed out 2 packs of smokes a day, so it's
Yeah,
like different culture for sure.
different
So.
culture, yeah, different health habits there. Yet
Yeah.
they didn't live as long, but they might have been healthier. Uh, not
Yeah.
because they smoked, but because they probably like did more manual work
Oh,
and
absolutely.
they cooked. Things were less processed. So it's
Yeah.
interesting. Again,
Yeah, it is. It is when you
yeah,
think about like, you think about, and I don't want this to turn into like some crazy like political talk, but you think about vaccinations too, right? Like all these things that we're vaccinated for now that people died from, polio and smallpox and all these really terrible
mumps,
diseases,
measles,
So yeah, yeah,
tuberculosis.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, whooping cough. I mean, that
Yeah,
was killing infants. So
yeah, yeah. You probably have. Have you gotten your Tdap yet? Your
yep, yeah, I'm good
like
to
your
go.
stuff.
Yeah, I got all my stuff
Yeah.
done actually. So I'm definitely set. I got my flu shot too, so I'm ready to rock. So
Nice, nice.
yeah. So
But
Derek,
yeah,
what would you say? Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
no, 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 no. Go on.
Oh, thanks, man. What I wanted to kind of go into next was I wanted to go into things that you feel like you did well or that you have done well as a father. Like things that where you think you've had like good successes and things that you did well that aligned with your values, and then maybe some things that you not necessarily mistakes because I don't want to make it sound too negative, but things that if you did have the chance, you would maybe do a little differently.
Yeah, it's a hard question to answer because in terms of parenting, there is no right or wrong. I'd say, um, I'd say like at least in terms of like developmental stuff, I was pretty in tune to that. Just kind of what we do as a profession.
Yeah, yeah,
You obviously, there's those times where you're like, I just lost my temper, or I said the wrong thing. Um, I was tired.
yeah.
You know, you just have to. I mean, I guess that's it. Is you're gonna make a decision, and you just have to stick with it. Um, but yeah, I'd say that is probably the thing that I regret the most is like just you know being more patient. I consider myself a pretty patient person, but
Oh, I would
by
say
the
so
end of
too.
the day, yeah, by the end of the day, it can be really hard. But just realize that you're human, and talk to your child and tell them oh, I shouldn't have been so mean. I shouldn't have said that. Um, but other than that, I mean, if you love the child and you always operate on their best interest, there's really not many regrets you'll have. You know.
That's
Um,
awesome. Yeah, that sounds great. Looking back, I feel like we all, for better and for worse, we all kind of draw from our experience as children, and we definitely there's like the big joke of like you always kind of become your parents when you're older, and in some ways that can be a good thing, right? You become a little more uh, uh, paranoid about certain things, and you tend to be a little more careful versus when we were late teens, early 20s, like it was just a different environment. We don't have to share stories about that, but it was
so
different time.
yeah, yeah. You think
you know
less of the consequences.
yes, exactly. It's very much about that immediate instant
It's
gratification and
gratification. Yeah.
zero cognitive processing as far as consequences. But
Yeah.
um, one thing my mom did really well when I was growing up is whenever whenever we would get in trouble and we would get punished, she would always make sure to tell us that we were being punished and the consequence had to do solely with our actions, not with how she felt about it. So she always makes sure to make it a point that she's not mad at us and lashing out at us because she's angry. Now, was she probably angry at some of the stuff we did? Of course, yeah, because we were how it is. You're knucklehead when you're a kid.
Yep.
But and if it ever got out of hand, if she ever like said something she didn't mean to say, we would always do kind of a powwow after, and she would just explain it and kind of break it down and essentially like diffuse the situation. I always thought you said communication's key. Looking back now, this was like 25 something years ago. It still resonates with me now. It's
I,
definitely something that I want to kind of take into raising Vivi.
Totally. I mean, yeah, same with my mom. I would always say, yeah, there's always an action, always a consequence for all your actions. And, another thing that she said that I always kind of use as kind of a guiding light is, you always just do the best. And if you feel like you've done the best that you possibly can, that's all there is. Even if you come short or you succeed, it doesn't really matter. It's just always prioritize the work and do 100%. Like, don't half-ass anything. I think that's important, and I've kind of lived my life that way.
I think that's a great maxim. Yeah.
Yeah, just do your best. And my mom, it was always funny. She would be like, Derek, we have our standards, right?
Yeah.
Like she'd like, grade it, and like I'd write a paper, and she'd be like, you can do so much better than this. And I knew deep down that. And I think was a great example for me. Is like, just always look back at yourself and say, could you do better than this? So, and that's kind of how I've kind of operated as a parent as well. And now it's starting to come, with Alex being 7 now, same thing with his schoolwork. I'm like, do you think you could have done better with that? And sometimes he says yes, sometimes he says no. That's the way it is. But it's hard because you always want to. Yeah, I'll always want to interject or do something, but it's like no. It's like very much like a DBA thing. Like
I was just thinking about that.
Authentic movement, right?
Yeah.
Let them do their authentic self.
Yeah.
Let them be them. And
I think that's awesome.
Yeah, and I think we see it like with youth sports and stuff, like these
parents.
Oh yes. Like, let's get these kids in all these programs, and like, they're going to be a professional athlete or whatever.
Yeah.
It's like, just let them be kids.
Exactly.
Let them have fun. Like, they're not in a place yet to become anything. Like
no. Well, and I remember that. Did you play? I'm sure you played youth sports growing up, Derek. Did you play like baseball when you were a little kid?
Yeah, when I was a little kid, absolutely.
Yeah, same. I feel like we all played, a season or two of little league. I certainly did too. And I luckily all of my coaches they definitely pushed us to be better. But at the end of the day, it was still a game. It was still fun. And I enjoyed going to the game. And I was actually very socially awkward as a kid. I didn't particularly like being around large groups of people, but my coaches made it fun. And my dad obviously was out there too. And that was definitely fun. But I saw those parents, man, that were like hard driving. You're talking to like 9 and 10-year-old kids. Like, dude, they just want to like play outside. They want to go play on the Nintendo, back when I was a kid, play on Nintendo, freaking and just have fun and be a kid. You're not thinking about winning the college World Series, or the World Series or anything like that. You just want to have fun.
Or like getting into an Ivy League school at the age of 2nd grade. It's like,
are you kidding me? Yeah.
Yeah. It's, people project a lot, or they can.
Definitely.
And I think it's from a good place, but I think you just kind of have to let the child do their own thing. And
no, I like that.
What they like and what they don't. It's like training somebody, right? You don't want to imprint what you like to do on them, right?
Right.
You can show them what you like to do, but ultimately it's what they want.
Right? Oh, absolutely. And it's all about obviously what the goal is and what they want to do. I've had clients tell me flat out, like, I don't want to train with kettlebells. And I'll look at them and say, okay, cool. Then we're going to do some bodyweight stuff. Yeah. And if you can move well with a barbell, we'll do some barbell. And there's plenty of other tools to get the job done.
It's a tool. That's all it is. A tool. And you'll find you'll have these tools of parenting too, right?
Oh, it's
and sometimes you'll have to be the good cop. Sometimes you'll have to be the bad cop. I'm mostly, I'd say 95% of the time, the good cop.
Oh, that's good. Yeah.
But that's just kind of my personality versus Rita's. So, but yeah, it's just the way it is.
Yeah, I think that's one thing I'm going to have to work on. And again, we're definitely coming full circle with this, talking about DV8. I'm kind of realizing now that Phil was not only teaching us how to be coaches, he was teaching us how to be better people. Especially
honestly, like that's what
a very authentic movement.
A good coach does, right? It's more about the X's and it's not about the X's and O's. It's about being a better person, right? And I think that's one thing that really drew me to the DV8 Certis is he is a great guy, and it's well intentioned, and it's uplifting people instead of putting them down. I think that's the most important thing ever. Like whether you're a parent or a coach or anything or a neighbor, like uplift people, don't put them down.
No, that resonated with me as well, man. I honestly love that. I think that's one thing I'm gonna have to try to check myself on, because man, I wish I had a video of a couple of my first time sessions, like teaching a Turkish get up. I just remember saying, like, running through the entire movement, like from the floor up to the standing position and back down, and my clients just looked at me like I had six heads. They were just like, the information overload was real. They were looking at me like, what? And now it's so funny. I just demo the movement. Like, I kind of do it with them. They watch me and we kind of do it together. I say very little. They learn it in 5 minutes. Like, it's just like, I speak very little now. They learn, and they're not overwhelmed by the too much knowledge, quote unquote knowledge, and everything. So that's one thing I want to try to do with Vivi, is like, obviously create a safe place for her to be a child and explore and learn and experience the world. And obviously, hopefully, knock on wood, have a very long, exciting life, but also don't overimpose and don't try to just like indoctrinate her into my beliefs and my system and my idiosyncrasies and whatnot. So that's something I'm definitely going to think about.
Well, and then you'll be surprised how genetics play a role there too, right? Like, yeah, she'll do something, you'll be like, oh my gosh, that was just, Lorna, that was just me, like it, which is pretty amazing.
Yeah.
And they say like the first 3 months, a baby always looks like the dad, and that shows like like that's my child.
Yeah.
And it'll be very weird, but
it's funny you should say that, because at our latest Lauren's latest ultrasound that she just did, she showed me a picture and she said, do you notice anything? And I just looked and I said, it looks like a baby. And she said, no. She's like, no, you idiot. She said, no, she has your nose and your lips. And I looked and I went, oh yeah, she does. That's kind of cool. So she said, and I made a joke. I was like, oh, so she'll be beautiful, obviously, is what you're telling me.
Absolutely.
But no, I feel like I'm already kind of noticing what you're saying there, how she's gonna kind of look.
Oh, totally.
Like, and I guess from a biological standpoint, it makes sense, right? It's like the guy will hopefully stick around.
It's sort of, yeah, it makes a lot of sense. I mean, yeah. But then that's it, and then it's funny because then like things that annoy Rita about me, like Alex will do something similar. I'm like, oh my gosh, like here it is, here's the genes right there. And then also I like, there's been times like when we went to Disney World for a day, right? And after that, I had to call my parents and be like, thank you so much for taking me when I was 4 years old, because I understand how hard it is. And, so it was just this whole like full circle thing, like, wow, that was tough.
Yeah. Oh, I can only imagine like how loud it is, like that you're keeping track of a child while they're running around excited to go see Mickey Mouse and now it's even crazier, right? You got Star Wars, Marvel, all that stuff's under the Disney umbrella. So it's a literal, like it is even more of a magical place.
I feel like you might.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
You're gonna need the leash.
Lauren's gonna have me on the leash on one arm and then Vivi on the other. It's Darth Vader.
Darth Vader.
I want him to force choke me in a photo. Yeah, seriously.
But I mean, I'll tell you, it's like being a parent is probably the best thing that's happened to me in my life. It's one of the first things, like when they're like, "Who are you?" Like, "What are you?" It's like a dad, a husband, a trainer. Like it's up there on my list. It's, something I'm proud of, and that I'm so happy and blessed to be in. So
I think that's beautiful, man. Again, I feel like you and I both know these people. You've embraced the role that you've been given. Not to say you weren't a part of the process, obviously in the front end, but you've embraced the role as a father, and I think that's great. I think that's actually really runs in line with a lot of the Stoic philosophy that I've read over the last year or so. It's basically accepting and embracing the role that you have. Versus a lot of people that we know that they're burdened, they feel as if they're burdened by it. It's a challenge, and it is a challenge. I'm sure I will soon learn, but definitely getting into that woe is me, life is hard, I have to do these things because of the child, versus I get to do these things because of the child. So I think the use of your language definitely shows that your mindset is a good one, definitely
Oh,
proactive.
definitely. I saw some meme where it's like, uh, having a mother of two be told, like, who's like, the kids are sick, being told by a 25-year-old trainer, like, to eat 5 meals a day and to exercise 4 times a week for an hour and a half, is the key to being healthy. Is like, there's no point. You cannot do that as a parent. So
Yeah.
yeah, you don't know until you know.
Yeah,
Until
no,
you know.
I believe that, and it's funny because I'm thinking about some of those conversations that I had when I was a new 23-year-old personal trainer. I had my little fancy certificate. I'm like, I know what I'm doing. I'm ready to rock and roll. And the same conversation with parents, like particularly new parents, they're exhausted. They want to be healthier and everything, but it's a very unique challenge. And I remember saying, yeah, so we need to get you in the gym like 4 to 5 times a week, and again, let's get you to eat like 4 to 5 meals a day. And they're looking at me like, are you kidding me, dude?
Yeah,
I'm lucky if I get one meal a day, man. What are
yeah,
you talking
exactly. It's like, I mean, like, a more appropriate one is like, at one meal, don't eat your children's leftovers.
Yeah.
That's a win, like, that's a win. But
I can only imagine, yeah.
yeah, it's, but I think you'll have more of a connection with the parents that you do train at, as an actual parent. I mean, even now
Yeah.
you're already understanding that, and like, and I feel like you've taken care of children before in
Hmm.
your life, right?
I
So
have, yeah, I
yeah,
have a little bit.
so and that's like, that makes a world of difference because you understand that, the
Yeah.
responsibility of that. Like, I mean, that
Oh,
was like,
yeah.
for me, I was like, oh my God, like, I'm responsible for this living thing that, like, like,
Yeah.
there's a picture of me and like Alex is like that big, it, it's pretty scary and amazing all at the same time.
Oh, I believe it. Yeah. One of I think you'll appreciate this. We actually did an episode, and it's going to drop on January 8th, by the way. We did one with Jen Murphy Meehan.
Yeah.
Great episode. Talked to her about pull-ups training, and I've been selfishly asking any of our guests that are parents. I've been selfishly kind of prying information from them, and her number one rule with her and her husband, especially when their children were little, was anything that's said between midnight and 6 a.m. doesn't count. She
Jim,
said
it's
midnight to
great.
6, you're sleep deprived, your sleep, like you said, sleep disrupted. Whatever you say, it doesn't count. You're good. 6 a.m. on, then you gotta take responsibility for your words.
That is fantastic. Yes.
After that, and I'm assuming this is, of course, you've had coffee and you can semi-function.
Definitely. Again, with the communication, is like, there's been many times where I'm like, oh, I really didn't mean that when I said that. I'm just like in a place right now, and
Oh, sure.
I think that's another thing that, Alex has taught me is like, I have to, like, I can't point the finger at anybody else but myself, when I mess up, or I'm like, okay, like, I am sorry, I was upset or frustrated, I shouldn't have said that, or I shouldn't have done that.
Yeah.
So you really have to look into yourself, so, which is great. I mean, and you have to understand that they're modeling their behavior off of you. So whatever you do,
Exactly.
it's going to be imprinted hard on them, as we were talking
Yeah.
about, right? Like,
Oh,
so the lessons from your
absolutely.
mother, I mean, and that's, it's like one of the, I think it's more of an older generation thing, but like, one of the best compliments you can get is your children are really well behaved, or you've raised your children right,
Oh,
and that's,
absolutely.
um, I think people now, like, with the information that's out there, people are like, well, you need to read this book, that book, and this book. It's like, yeah, you can read all the books in the world, but like, just like in training, like when they're like sick and they need to go to the hospital, like there's no book for that. You got to do it.
Yeah, you got to put boots to the
So,
ground. Yep,
yeah,
exactly.
right.
Well, that's like you and I are always talking about Jocko Willink, obviously.
Yeah.
Obviously love that guy. He's got, and I definitely am excited for Way of the Warrior Kid
Oh
when he gets
man.
old enough. So pumped about that.
That,
But
yeah.
listened to his extreme ownership and dichotomy of leadership. He was talking about how you go to training, and he said SEAL training was obviously really hard, but he said it was nothing at all compared to being out there like in a real situation, real firefight. Being out
Right.
there, behind enemy lines, getting shot at, and all that. He said
Oh,
the
yeah.
training was nothing. And reading a field manual on leadership and all that stuff. It's like he said, net it's, you can read it, you can learn the concepts, but it isn't until boots hit the ground that's when it really starts.
You got to be in the trenches. I mean, that's
Yeah.
it. It's like you don't learn how to be a parent until you're actually a parent. I mean,
Yeah. I
you
think
can
people, yeah,
go on.
no, absolutely. I think people beat themselves up too, right? Like we were, I was talking to some people recently about some mistakes they feel like they made as parents, and they were kind of beating themselves up a little bit. And I think what people forget is like you don't know what you don't know. Like I've never been a father, so I don't really know what I'm about to get into fully. So there's obviously a learning curve. There's a huge amount of ignorance currently. I'm going to learn as I go. I feel like people beat themselves up over mistakes, but it's like you don't know, and your current level of performance is based upon your experience and your current education, and that's obviously going to go up as you learn and practice more. Just like kettlebells, for instance. Like you remember that first Turkish get up was just like pretty cringy. I'm sure
Yeah.
Mike Perry was good about it, but he was probably in the back of his mind going, damn, this really sucks. So
Yeah.
I know certainly I was that way when I did my first movements.
Oh,
I
yeah.
was like,
I mean,
these
we're
are
all
terrible.
beginners. We all figure it out. Yeah. I mean, that's
Yeah.
why we like ask people like, what's your lifting age, right? It's like, how long have you lifted? Same thing is like, and what's interesting as a parent, right? Like you grow as they grow. I mean, it's very Milo the bull, right?
Yeah.
It's like you grow as they grow, and it's like if you mess up, you can't beat yourself up about a decision you made. It's just water under the bridge. You keep moving, you know. And if you didn't learn from that mistake, now that's a different thing, right?
Yeah.
Well, and that's a very Jocko Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. If you win, you win. If you lose, you learn, right? I mean,
Yeah.
that's the way it is. You just you treat it as a learning experience.
Yeah. No,
So
I love that. That's awesome. No, and you're right. It is all obviously about learning. And I think there's definitely, it's kind of cool. I think you and I think about obviously like when we go to the gym, you work out, you lift the weights. There's the physicality of fitness, right? Like you want to get stronger. You have clients that they want to lose a certain amount of weight. They want to, guys want to put some, add inches to their biceps and all that kind of stuff. And all that stuff isn't unimportant per se. They're great motivators to get people in the gym, but I think there's definitely like a deeper reason why we do what we do. You want to strive for mastery, you want to learn. And I have found that what I've learned in the gym and, at the certification events, it has definitely bled through into the rest of my life, like the concept of progressions and regressions, like where you are in life, like you definitely want to step your game up and improve, but there has to be a plan of how to get there, with
yeah,
whatever facet we're talking about here. So I think there's definitely, it's all full circle. Definitely has become that way for me the last few years.
yeah, and which is exactly it. And that's how that you get older and wiser, and you have more experience, and then yeah, you realize that it's all about what's in your mind and how you approach things versus the actual effort or just action of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
No,
that's why it's
absolutely.
like, yeah, as a parent, like to have like, all right, here are these principles I follow. I mean, as a Stoic, you're already kind of there, right? I mean, uh, being Stoicism works well probably with being a parent, right? It's like
Yeah.
uh, I can't change the things I can't change, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
So the only thing I control is my emotions and my my thoughts. So
Hmm.
that's where you have to be as a parent too. Is like there's time where it's like, okay, just like slow down. What am I thinking? How am I going to approach this? You know, when like your kid's screaming in the grocery store, flailing, crying, and everyone's looking at you like, what is wrong with you? Like, why are
Yeah.
you a bad parent? It's like,
Unless they're parents and then they get
and they're like,
it. You're like,
okay,
yep, we're having a meltdown.
here it
Yep.
is. Yep, it's meltdown time. Exactly.
Yep.
So yeah, it gives you some good perspective. On the Jocko tip, and I think I've told you that it was like the first book that Alex really loved reading with me. Was Way of the Warrior Kid.
That's
He loved
awesome.
because he loved the training part of it, and then also like the martial arts aspect to it, and the bully aspect too, because he's had some bullies in his already in his stuff,
Oh,
and
of
that's like
course.
really hard, right? Because it's like you want to be like, I just want to like wring that kid's neck who's like,
Oh, yeah.
but it's like this is a part of life for them.
It really is.
Again, you can give them like, well, here's what you would do for this. You can give them ideas, but they have to deal with it themselves.
Oh, it's so true, man. I mean, I feel like we all definitely experienced bullying at some point in our
Oh yeah,
childhood. Alex obviously isn't a huge kid. He's kind of like he's not a tiny kid, but he's not a huge kid.
he's not. Yeah, he's not a
Yeah, and
big kid.
my build was very like at his age was very similar. I was not short or tall, just kind of average height, but not a big guy. Like I was I've always been a pretty like pretty kind natured, pretty like soft, kind of softer natured person. So it's in childhood that could be a big target on your back. As you know, people see it. It's almost prison, right? They see it as a sign of weakness, and they will exploit it. And man, I got my ass kicked as a kid in elementary school, and you definitely you have to process it at some point, right? But for a period of my time, I looked back on it, was like angry and kind of resentful about it, but it is a learning experience, and I think it's a good lesson to learn of the fact that the world isn't entirely a kind place. There is meanness out there. There is ugliness out there. Like we can control, as you said about the Stoics, like we can control what we do and how we act, but we cannot control what others do. So there are ugly sides of the world out there. So
Absolutely. My mom always loves to tell the story because I too consider myself a pretty soft-natured, kind person. My mom was, when I was a little kid, was always worried about that because, I would just be like, yeah, okay. So apparently,
mine was too.
yeah. So apparently, I was playing with a girl and she like kept stealing my truck, and then I would go to something else and play with it, and
Yeah.
then she'd steal that one, and then I'd go and do something else. My mom said, and I was just really nervous about that. And then she said she took one thing else, and you grabbed that truck and you hit her over the head with it. And I knew you were going to be okay in life.
Yeah, we all have breaking points, man. That's
And
the
that's
thing.
it. Long fuse, but if you get me, then that's it. But she just didn't want
Yeah.
me to be a complete pushover.
Yo, exactly. Yeah, yeah.
And
No, and truthfully, that's how I was for a long time in my life. Like,
yeah,
so I definitely can understand her fear with that.
yeah, absolutely. And Alex is very similar. Alex has a little bit more, I'd say, confidence than I did.
Yeah.
But he's a sensitive kid, and um, that's important. Like me being a sensitive person, like I can see sometimes when he struggles, and like he'll be like, "Just do it." I'm like, I'm thinking to myself, well, he's really sensitive right now. Like we just need to like let him cool off before
Oh,
go
absolutely.
back
Yeah.
to it. So
Absolutely. And I think that's you think about what we do as coaches, obviously, right? Like there are people that respond to that, F you, get it together, tighten up, that kind of mind. Some people love that kind of militaristic
absolutely,
mindset, like, and that's fine. But I find that most of my clients, like we're all normal people, man. Like we're regular, we have jobs and we have responsibilities. We're not professional athletes or special operators in the military. Like we're normal people. So I think that being empathetic and being able to form a genuine connection with somebody is very important, because then people will trust you, right? They're going to trust that you have their best interests at heart, and they're gonna listen to you. You guys are going to be able to do great things together, versus that kind of like toughen up kind of mindset. So
Oh yeah, exactly. Exactly. You got to do it. Yeah, you have to be empathetic with people at times. It's hard. You got to know when to push them and when to hold back.
yeah, that has to,
Um,
man, I could,
and then being
that
a
has to be
coach.
challenging. Yeah, just like being a coach, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a time to add some weight, and there's also a time to regress and backtrack. So um, that's got to be challenging. So basically, what I need to do is I'm gonna have to really drop my volume for Sinister training come February, is what I'm hearing.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. I trained my friend, and he just had his second child, and and I'm like, okay, well, we were doing like a plan strong, like Russian squat routine
Yeah,
before.
yeah. Wave the load. Yeah.
Was great. And then when his daughter was born, I said, okay, we're gonna do a different thing now. We're gonna do easy strength,
Yeah.
because
Oh, there
you
we
have to,
go. Yeah.
and then every day it'll be like, how are you feeling? How much sleep did you have? And that's gonna dictate what our rep scheme is that day.
That's awesome.
So it's a little more flexible training, right? It's program
Yeah.
minimum, like you just, it's a maintenance. It's not, you're not trying to push.
Yeah.
So
I think that's
so
good too,
yes,
because
Sinister might be a, yeah, go on. Yeah.
oh no, go ahead, man.
Saying like Sinister is like all out, like you, that it's really hard. Only 2 exercises, extremely heavy loads.
Yes.
That puts a lot of
And
wear and tear on you.
a lot of volume
Uh,
too. Yeah.
yeah, it's a lot of volume, and it's a peaking plan, right? It's so yeah, you need to be 100% recovered for things like that.
Yeah, definitely. I'll probably
So
just plan to drop back on the weight, like still practice the movements. I'll probably still like, but maybe drop down to like a 32 or
absolutely,
36 and just do kind of the minimum, kind of hit the 100 swings and 10 get-ups or whatever, but just kind of just listen to my body and maybe do it a few times a week just to kind of maintain the movement proficiency, and then when I've recovered, kind of kick it up again. So,
oh, sorry, I lost you there for a second.
oh, that's okay. Yeah, sometimes it lags. No, I
You
was just
got me,
saying, I think
Demarco?
you're right. Yep, I'm there.
Yeah, yeah, I got you. So yeah, exactly. Like a timeless approach is fine. And then waving the load that way, right? So doing like a heavy, medium, light, depending on how you feel that day, and then not testing until
Yeah,
until sleep, until there's a more steady routine.
yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, no, and right now I'm obviously getting plenty of sleep. I'm eating a bunch, and I'm
Yeah,
getting great recovery. So I'll ride this wave until I can't anymore, and then definitely be prepared to drop back. So
yeah, exactly. You don't, your health is most important. Like you want to be able to play with your child.
yes. Oh, absolutely.
Um, if if you're so beat down, from training and you can't like spend time rolling around on the floor with your little one, there's no reason. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah, no, I definitely don't. No, I definitely don't want to do that. Don't want to go too hard and be able to, because I'm definitely excited to be able to play, obviously with Vivi and do fun stuff. So,
Yeah, yeah. I know you will be a fun dad. That's for sure.
oh, thank you, man. So, Derek, I don't want to take too much more of your time, and I already really appreciate everything that you've shared with me. I feel like this definitely, we talked about fatherhood, definitely got into some philosophy and like training, and it's funny how everything is way more related than we even, mostly usually will think about. If Not to sound too morbid, but let's say many many years from now, when Alex and Vivi are in the world, they're adults and they're they're experiencing their own challenges, and let's say past the point when we're here, later on when we're gone, what do you want Alex? What's the biggest lesson that you want Alex to know and learn and implement into his life?
It's a great question, and I'm gonna take it. I'm gonna steal it from Laird Hamilton because it really resonated with me. Um, my number one purpose for him, and as a parent, is to make sure that he is a happy human being. As long as he's happy, I don't care what his profession is, whatever he enjoys. If he's happy, I think that it's a great thing because I don't think many adults are.
No.
And it's like, and I feel like there's a lot of pressure to be like, make a lot of money,
Yes.
work an impressive job.
Yes.
But what's the point for that if you're not happy in life, right? I mean,
yeah.
So I just hope he's a happy human being, and that's because if he's a happy human being, he's going to make others around him happy. And,
That's true.
It's this domino effect.
Yeah, it's going to be a good domino effect. Yeah, I didn't think about that. That's awesome.
And to be happy means like you have to be respectful of others, and there's that's just the tip of that iceberg, but underneath there's just so many things that are included with that.
No, absolutely. I think that's awesome, and I think that's beautiful. I guess mine is definitely a very closely related cousin to that one, because my one would be for Vivi to just find her deeper purpose for her existence. Just
Right.
find that deep reason. And you and I, we were talking about kettlebells, and obviously our company, our business is called Strength with Purpose, and
Right.
so obviously, but I think it's very much related to that. Like, find that deeper purpose, like find that why, that hell yeah thing that's going to get you out of bed and get you working hard.
Thing that makes you tick, and yeah, you find your passion, you'll never work a day in your life, and you'll be very happy doing it, like
Yeah.
You should be fulfilled in life, and that's a hard thing with all the stresses
Yeah.
around us, these external forces, well, you need to do this, or you should be this,
Yeah. I feel like it's even harder now too, right? You've got social media, you've got the internet, you've got there's like 15 or 20 different ways for people to reach you, and there's just an onslaught. There's 24-hour news coverage. It's just a constant onslaught of basically, in more or less, of being told that you're inadequate, and being told that you need to be more, like you said, earn more money, more accolades, and be more successful. Like,
Right.
People, there's such a fixation with physical accumulation of wealth and status and everything, and truthfully, those things don't really matter if you love what you do. We talked previously about being trainers. Like, we're not going to become wealthy as trainers. Like, we can make a good living, not to say we can't, but we're not in it to earn 6 or 7 figures. You know what I mean?
Well, right.
So.
And there's always a price, right? You could be like a superstar trainer, but
yeah,
the price is going to be you're not with your family on the weekends.
That's right.
You're helping others, and like you're not helping your family. So yeah, there's always a price for all that work, and
there is
getting the accolades. Like there's like, why would you kill yourself just to get all these accolades and to be like, well, I never spend time with my family, they're I'm not happy. So that's what I always keep that in perspective, is like, what makes me happy, and what's going to make my child happy, and that's the most important part, right? Like we got up on a Sunday morning, and like, well, the last thing I want to really do is go out and like have him do that, but I know it was like fun for him.
Yeah.
So like, I'm more than happy to like go and spend time with him and have him learn stuff that he likes to do.
Yeah.
And spend money on him, to do that. I could be like, well, I want a nicer car, so you can't do this, or you can't do karate. But it's like, I'm happier watching him be happy and like giving him experiences in life. That's going to make him a better person. So
Yeah, I think that you just said it again, not to take too much more time, but you just mentioned experiences, right? Like I think there's such a fixation in particularly Western civilization as a whole on physical accumulation of like treasures and wealth and possessions and everything. But I think you just mentioned it, and again, this is another reason why I wanted you on here because I love. I honestly, you could talk about dinosaurs, and I'd probably be fascinated because you would have a different take on it. But I think a lot of people, and of course, we're creeping up on Christmas time. Obviously, Christmas is in a few days, so there is that gifting and physical possessions, but experiences like you can, no matter what, you can never get back that time lost with your parent, right? Like I loved my X-Men action figures and Batman action figures as a kid, but my favorite memories are playing catch with my dad outside in the backyard, right? Like my mom taking me to my basketball game and awkwardly trying to hold the camcorder and record the games
right.
while I was playing, and and all that stuff. Like those moments are priceless, right? Like when they're at a Boy Scout jamboree and they're there watching you get your 20th merit badge or whatever.
Yeah.
Those are the moments that like the toys are cool and all, but the memories, like nothing beats the memories.
Nothing beats the memories, like of experiences. So yeah, and if you're not there to participate with your child, there will be no experiences,
Yeah.
and that's sad.
No, absolutely.
It's so sad. So yeah, no, I think being physically there um, is a really important part about being a parent, in my opinion. So like you said, like, toys are what they are, but having them experience something is much better.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Well, I think that's a great note to end on, Derek. Again, man, I always appreciate your time. I love having you on the show. And yeah, man, when we get to phase 4, obviously everybody gets vaccinated. We're gonna definitely get together, hang out, do some fun stuff. I've got some cool event ideas for later down the road. Obviously, we get vaccinated and the weather gets nicer, and people want to go outside
right.
again. You know what I mean? But man, thank you so much for being on. I appreciate
You're very
you.
welcome. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, man. Yeah, thanks for sharing more knowledge and experience with me. I'm definitely going to implement those into raising my daughter. I'm still saying that word out loud. Still feels kind of funny. It's I've got to get used to it.
Yeah,
So
at first it's kind of weird, but yeah.
Yeah. Well, I remember when I first got married, and the conversation very quickly changed from my girlfriend to my fiance, and then it's like my wife. And I'm like, oh damn, she's my wife now. Oh, I gotta tighten up. I gotta step my game up so she doesn't figure out that she's made a terrible mistake. So, but Derek, thank you so much, brother. I appreciate you being on, and I just want to, yeah, man, absolutely. I want to leave everybody with this empowering mission going into the rest of your life. Train your body, feed your mind.